Hey guys, Akash here. In this lecture, I will talk in detail about fabulous body pillar number 1. That is being real, building a real physique that looks pleasing, appealing, and sexy. So first, let's hear from a very own Steve Reeves, who was the most admired bodybuilder of the 20th century. He said, "Too many muscles can get in your way. You got to have enough to get people interested, but not so much to scare them off." So how much muscle is too much? Would you prefer a lean physique like Brad Pitt in his early days of his acting career? Or do you prefer to be more muscular, similar to Brad and Troy perhaps? Now fortunately, there's an exact formula that I will give you in just a while, which is based on your height, that can help you figure out a weight range to help you build a fabulous body. So there are 3 aspects of being real. First is the X taper. Second is your sexy weight range. And third is your body fat percentage. So let's quickly discuss all 3 in detail. So the first one is X taper. X taper is defined as your waist to chest ratio or your waist to shoulder ratio. You can calculate one or both if you prefer. Now, ideal waist to chest ratio to look your best should be 1.4, and your ideal shoulder to waist ratio should be 1.6. Now, I am pretty close to these numbers and I'm working out in such a way to ensure that I reach these ideal ratios very soon. Now, let's see what science has to say about this. So this study by D.S. Mazie and others surveyed 30 female undergraduates who rated color pictures of 50 men in front view. Now, waist to chest ratio, which is a measure of upper body shape, and waist to hip ratio, which is a measure of lower body shape, and BMI was measured for each man. Images were presented in random order with each subject's head and body obscured. Results showed that individually all 3 characteristics were contributors to attractiveness. However, the waist to chest ratio was the principal determinant of attractiveness, accounting for 56% of the variance, whereas BMI only accounted for 12.7%. The lower body, the waist to hip ratio was not a significant predictor of attractiveness at all. So what this means is, in layman terms, is that the waist to chest ratio, which is your upper body ratio, which is the X taper, was a significant determinant of attractiveness. It's also based on the golden ratio, which I have in detail explained in my articles on how to build your ideal male physique. It's divided into part 1 and 2. I've given the links below, so make sure to do check them out once you're done with this lecture. Now let's move on and talk about the sexy weight range. Dr. Casey Butt, who is the founder of weighttrainer.net, in his book Muscular Potential, has done a brilliant job of finding us a sexy weight range for men that women find attractive. So sexy weight range is your minimum lean body weight, which is 23 multiplied by your height in meters squared, and your maximum muscular body weight is 26 multiplied by your height in meters, which is squared. I have given a link for a website where you can convert your height in feet to meters. So let's just take an example of an individual who is 6 feet tall to illustrate this point better. So his sexy weight range, there's an assumption here that your body fat, you need to be lean enough. So I've taken just a range of 9 to 14%. So for a 6 feet individual, his sexy weight range will be 77 to 87 kilos. Now I want you to pause this video for a moment and calculate your own. If you stay within this range, then I can promise you one thing: you won't go wrong with your proportions. You will look very natural. Stick with the lower end of the weight range if you want to look lean, and aim to achieve the higher end of the weight range if you want a more muscular look. For example, Brad Pitt and Troy, we just discussed that. So if you stay within this weight range I've mentioned, it's very tough to get your body proportions wrong, provided you do it naturally. Now, what does that mean? It means if you take steroids and other bodybuilding drugs like growth hormones, you start to get a very unnatural look. For example, notice the traps, the 3D shoulder, the fullness of the upper chest, and so forth. All this signifies steroid use, as these muscle areas have more androgen receptors. So with steroid use, you start to get a very unique look, which is pretty easy to identify and is a far cry from what looks real. Honestly, you don't need to build a lot of muscle to look lean. All you need to do is focus on your proportions, especially the ratios, and you will look more pleasing than ever. In the next lecture, I will discuss about body fat percentages.